It was so nice of Kendrick to let the NFL play at his concert. In case you happen to miss it, Kendrick Lamar performed at the Super Bowl. There's a lot of controversy around his performance. So before we go any further, I would like to be very clear. This is not a political video. I'm going to be looking at Kendrick Lamar's performance from a strictly artistic perspective and looking at how we can use the art and the culture of hip hop to empower our students and take things from the performance specifically to help us with ELA instruction. In case you do not know Kendrick Lamar is a 22-time Grammy winner, the only Pulitzer Prize winning rap musician. He also has two albums that have been considered greatest rap albums of all time, and then beyond that, some of the best albums of all time. Now, let's get into the wins, all the good stuff about the performance. One of the biggest wins for hip hop was rap theater, or as I like to call it, rap opera. There are many beautiful theatrical pieces that are shown. Kendrick Lamar and his crew, they came out, they did the dances. You had the imagery with the white and the blue and the red and the flag. Samuel L. Jackson, he played Uncle Sam, adding to the theatricality of it. And when I saw this, the first thing I thought is, man, it would be great to have that type of art, that type of performance in schools. Imagine giving kids a topic, something in history, something with language arts, literary analysis, or developing a narrative, and they had to go back and revise and do compositions. They had to proofread, they had to share the script, they had to read it together for comprehension, and then they had to put on a performance. Even the dancers would have to understand what's happening. They would have to read the script and understand what type of dances to create to reflect what is being said in the song. Now imagine having your students do some type of rap theater, going beyond just having a rap song, but into having an entire production that focuses on a theme or history, and having them use their language arts skills to build a script with a narrative and then executing on it with stage production. Getting students to do that might not be your cup of tea, it might be a little challenging. And I work with schools, with educators to create that for their own students. And if you'd like to know more about that, we can get into that at the end of the video. Another huge W for hip hop in this, it was just the positive depiction of hip hop as an art and a culture and a community. If you're unfamiliar with hip hop and its history, hip hop started as the voice of the youth in the Bronx back in the 1970s. And it gave those kids a way to express themselves in their circumstances where they were growing up in poverty, Section 8 housing. Also, there's the aspect of the community of hip hop. Hip hop was a way for students to express themselves to their peers and also to their community. And that's exactly what happened with Kendrick's performance. He was able to express himself to his community. He brought his whole crew around. Sam Jackson even said something to the effect of, oh, you played the same race cheat code where you brought your whole crew with you, you know? Because that's what hip hop is about. Hip hop's about bringing your whole crew, the community, and sharing that with everyone in a positive way that uplifts everyone. So that was a beautiful depiction. And on that note, I gotta give a shout out to his treatment and the relationship he had with women throughout the whole performance. Hip hop is often said to be degrading, denigrating towards women. All in all, it was a beautiful depiction of Black women through the performance with the way he talks and relates to them and gives them a chance to shine on the stage. Another beautiful thing about the performance was his message in calling out grifters and culture vultures as he sees it in the person of Drake. So if you're not familiar with Drake, long story short, he became popular as a kid actor, a child actor, with the show, I think it's called Degrassi. Grew up pretty well, pretty affluent. And what's important to note about him is that he's from Canada and he came to the United States, and he would spend time using his influence to infiltrate various aspects of hip hop, of rap music specifically, going to different scenes, whether in Atlanta or in California, New York. And he would use his influence to kind of buy his way into the hip hop scene, even though he didn't really grow up with the culture. Compare that to someone like Kendrick Lamar, who grew up in the United States. He's seen the life, he's been in the streets, he knows what's going on, he understands hip hop culture. And what Kendrick's doing is he's calling out Drake on being fake, basically, on being a grifter, on being a culture vulture. And that's the whole point. Hip hop is there to combat the nonsense. Hip hop is there to combat the fakeness, to combat those who use Black culture and specifically hip hop for their own purposes. This is like hip hop's Superman versus Lex Luthor. There are the allegations Kendrick makes about Drake. Prime time football halftime show might not be the best place to address that, but I gotta say, with hip hop being the voice of the youth and having started with the uplifting of kids and giving them a voice, I think the message stands. I mean, don't mess with kids, protect kids. And there should be no disagreement about that whatsoever. Now, if you're thinking, hey, Ken, that's some great stuff. I didn't realize the message was that deep. I'd like to do more. I just don't know where to start. You can check out the description below for some awesome activities that go into hip hop history and how to combine it with language arts to engage your students and to connect with them culturally. Now, with all that said, let me ask this question. How are you going to use hip hop at the Super Bowl to engage and empower your students?